Hello, my wonderful students. I welcome you to yet another class with me in government. Today, I will be teaching you Nigerian Federalism. I will be exposing you to everything you need to know about the Nigerian Federalism, at least the basis, the various factors, and also the constitutional conferences that led to the Nigerian Federalism. For your lesson objectives, you should know the definition of Nigerian federalism, explain the origin of Nigerian federalism, and as well as you should be able to highlight the factors responsible for Nigerian federalism. Now let's look at the meaning of federalism. Now when we talk about federalism, you should take note that in a country, especially in a country of diverse culture and religion, power should not be concentrated. So, federalism means a system of government in which power is shared between the central government and other autonomous components. What it means is that power should not be concentrated, rather power should be shared between the central and other regional governments. Federalism is best practiced in an heterogeneous society. Let's look at examples of countries that practice federalism. Countries that practice federalism include the USA, Nigeria, India, Russia, among others. So federalism, I said, is best practiced in heterogeneous society. However, for a society that is homogeneous, it is better to adopt a unitary system of government. But when a society is heterogeneous, federalism is the best system for a heterogeneous society. Now, let's look at the divisions of power or functions in a federal system. Functions are usually divided among the three tiers of government, and they are divided into the exclusive, concurrent, and the residual lists, which means that there are functions that should be exercised by the government at the center, and also other things that ought to be exercised by the government at the component units. Now let's look at the exclusive list. When we talk about the exclusive list, they are the functions under the list that should be exercised by the central government only. Examples of such functions include currency, defense, power, customs, immigration, external affairs, among others. For instance, it is the central government that helps to defend the territorial integrity of a state, not the component unit. So, defense, for instance, falls under the exclusive function performed by the central government. Now, let's look at the concurrent legislative list. This is exercised by both the central and state governments. Such functions include higher education, labor, roads, industrial development, insurance, research, among others. Now, talking about concurrent lists, for instance, the roads, the central government can decide to construct roads, and the component government can as well decide to construct roads. So, road, for instance, is under the concurrent list. Now, let's look at the residual list. Functions under the residual list are for the local government to exercise. Such functions include primary education, health or maternity centers, library, markets, motor parks, among others. Now, talking about the residual list, let's look at the motor parks. For instance, it is the local government that conducts or that are in charge of the motor parks. So it is under the residual list. Factors responsible for Nigerian federalism, so many factors like cultural diversity, British colonial policy, the size of the country, for effective administration, bringing government to the grassroots, rights of minority and other interest groups, religion and culture, and so many others. All these factors are actually responsible for Nigerian federalism so that administration could be effective and that the government could be brought closer to the grassroots level. Now, there have been so many constitutional conferences, majorly two of them, that led to the establishment of the Nigerian federalism. The first is the Northern Constitutional Conference of 1953, and the second, the Lagos Constitutional Conference of 1954. Now, talking about the Northern Constitutional Conference of 1953, I will be exposing you to the various recommendations of the conference. First, it is important that you know that on May 20th, 1953, Mr. Oliver Newton suggests to the House of Commons to invite the various representatives of the regions in Nigeria to London for the purpose of discussing issues of greater regional autonomy. So the representatives were invited to the House of Commons and they had to discuss the issues that concerned Nigeria. Some of the recommendations of the 1953 Northern Constitutional Conference were that, one, there should be establishment of federal system of government in Nigeria. And again, that the governor should be known as Governor General, while the regional lieutenant governors should be made governors. They also reached an agreement that Lagos be separated from the Western region and be made the FCT. Now, it's also important for us to look at the conference held in Lagos in 1954, which is the Lagos Constitutional Conference. On 19th January 1954, a conference was held in Lagos to look into the report of Sir Louis Chick Fiscal Commission. So this commission was basically concerned with revenue allocation, especially as regards to looking into the solution to the problems of Nigerian federalism. The commission, which is Sir Louis Chick Fiscal Commission, had to be looked into and examined. And after the conference, it was agreed that allocation of financial resources should be based on principle of derivation, and also there should be regional autonomy as regards to the regionalization of the public service. This also included the judiciary that was regionalized. In conclusion, Nigeria consists of 3 levels or tiers of government, and it has 1 federal government, 36 states, and 774 local governments. And the Constitution of Nigeria rightfully divides political powers among the 3 tiers to perform the basic functions of governance. This is all I have for you today till we meet in our next class. Goodbye.